Hello everyone, a very good morning to all of you and I welcome you all to the Hindu newspaper analysis discussion. So guys, in the today's video, we are going to discuss entire analysis of Hindu newspaper. We'll take all articles along with the background as well as way forward, and I would also like to tell you that you can download explainer notes of this particular session from our Telegram channel. Link for Telegram channel is given in description box in YouTube. Now, first of all, let's take overview of entire newspaper so that we can understand that which articles are actually important in the today's newspaper. So here on first page, we have Delhi may turn venue for dialogue on reviving the Black Sea Grain Initiative. So basically guys, what is this Black Sea Grain Initiative? So understand this particular thing, that when we talk about Ukraine, Ukraine is the bread basket of Europe, and now because of Russia-Ukraine war that is going on, supplies of grain from Ukraine to Europe has been suspended. Now, because of that particular thing, in past, in 2022, what actually happened? There was this Black Sea Grain Initiative that got started, and this Black Sea under this initiative, Russia allowed that the shipments going to Ukraine for food, they will be allowed. But recently in July, this Russia had withdrawn from this Black Sea Grain Initiative. So India will try to revive that. Okay, so we will see that finally whether it gets revived or not, that we will see in G20 summit. But before that, no need to go too much in detail. Then African Union to join G20 as Sherpas reach a deal. So guys, India has been instrumental in talking about that the G20 should be expanded. Earlier, what happened? The BRICS has got expanded. Earlier, the 5-member BRICS, it got expanded, and now there are 11 members in BRICS, and now African Union is set to join G20 also. So that is something we need to see here. Then further moving on in this particular direction, after that we don't have much of important articles. Okay, then G20 summit eve, all such kind of things are there. Moving on in this particular direction, these advertisements etc., regional city issues etc. have been given. Now moving on in this particular direction, we will reach to editorial section. Now this spotlight article talking about when crocodile attack. Okay, nothing much important for the examination has been given. So directly we'll reach to editorial section. In editorial, disappearing languages, we'll take this particular article. What article is talking about? The success of G20 hinges on truce among fractious parties. So within G20, there is a lot of fractions of divisions that are going on. Largely, you know this particular thing, it is because of ideological divide going on in G20, where the West and China, Russia actually are divided. So we need to see that whether the countries are able to overcome that divide or not. Then finding soul in the Indo-Pacific, will take this particular article. Restoring order, will take this particular article also. Then on next page, do subsidies and safety nets take focus away from generating jobs, will take this particular article. Then in the next place, text and context, impact of RBI's lending guidelines, will take this particular article for exam. What is heat index and why it is important to measure, will take this particular article also. Then moving on, next text and context, Ukraine war. Okay, we'll take this particular article also for the examination as what it is talking about. Okay, then moving on to next page, then Bharat Jodo Yatra is a people's movement to Congress. India keen on having quad leader for Republic Day parade. Okay, then moving on guys, after that we have a lot of these political statements etc. that are there. There is one article, at G20, Japan backs India not China as bridge to global south. Now what is global south guys? Global south is grouping of developing countries, and India last year, India recently has conducted the Global South Summit, and India is trying to project itself as the leader of developing country Global South. However, China also in past has tried to represent itself as leader of Global South. So here between India and China, there is a race that who is actually the leader of Global South. And now Japan is supporting that India is actually the leader of Global South, and India is the bridge to Global South, not China. Then further moving on, high hope for climate and energy outcome at summit. Now, one thing guys, you need to understand this thing, that now just G summit is scheduled to be held on 9th and 10th. Now understand this particular thing, that okay, this is expected, that is expected, that is expected, this might happen. These kind of articles are going to come, but no need to read every such kind of an article, because final outcome will come just in 2 days of time. Okay, then moving on in this particular direction, next page, center to stop sites from weaving dark patterns. Will take this particular article as what it is talking about. Then after that, moving on to the next page, world at ASEAN summit, Indonesia warns against new conflicts. We'll take this particular article. Okay, Philippines opposes militia vessels in South China Sea. So basically, when we talk about the Philippines and China, their dispute continuously goes on with respect to South China Sea. In fact, recently China has released a new map, and in that new map, China has shown entire South China Sea belonging to China. Now, Philippines says that the Philippines EZ fine is not entertained by China, and China shows a lot of hegemonical attitude in South China Sea. So recently also there is the militia vessels in South China Sea, and this move has not been liked by Philippines. Then further moving on, business page, onion, tomato, spices prices up. Okay, all such kind of a things. Then we have the corporate trends, etc. Okay, and then we have the sports page. Okay, so this is guys all about the overview, and now let's discuss all relevant articles one by one in detail. Okay, now as I've told you that you can download uh, explainer notes of this particular session from Telegram channel. So here in these explainer notes, we take first of all a quotation that can be used in our answers to complement them, okay, as well as we can use these particular quotations in essay. So today we are going to take quotation from J.S. Mill, John Stuart Mill. So J.S. Mill says that bad men need nothing more to compass their ends than that good men should look on and do nothing. So bad men, evil people, immoral, unethical people, they need nothing more, just the silence of good people they need. If good people, responsible people, they'll be silent, they'll not speak against immoral, unethical things, then automatically bad people will get their way out. And even guys, it has also been said that darkness is nothing but the deprivation of light. In the same way, bad people, okay, or bad acts will thrive if good acts, good people will not speak up. So good people's active citizenry is very much responsible in a democracy, in a welfareist government. Fine. So you can use this particular idea in GS paper number 4 ethics as well as in GS paper number 2. Now moving on, and let's take first article for today. So the first article for today that we are going to take up is article on heat index. This article is from text and context page. Article says what is heat index and why it is important to measure. We'll see this particular article with respect to GS paper number 3. GS paper number 3, impacts of climate change, as well as with respect to geography and geographical phenomena, physical geography. Will take this particular article. Now, let's take some of basic information first, and then we'll go in this particular article, that what article is actually talking about. Now, recently guys, what happened? Iran has recorded the heat index of 70 degrees. Heat index of 70 degrees Celsius. Now, this heat index of 70 degrees Celsius, this is so high temperature that humans cannot survive in it. The survival of life is unfathomable. It is very difficult. Life cannot survive in this kind of a temperature. Now, first of all, let's understand that what is the meaning of this heat index, how it is different from normal temperature that we use to measure. That for example, you say that right now temperature in Delhi is 40 degrees Celsius. So how that is different from this heat index? So basically guys, just one thing I want to tell you here is that often in your mobile phone, when you see temperature, you might have seen two readings. One is actual temperature and other feels like. For example, actual temperature is, let's say, 35 degrees Celsius, and one more reading might be given in your mobile phone, that what it feels. So feels like temperature might be something like that, 42 degree Celsius. Okay. So here what is heat index? Heat index is a combination of two things. Heat index is combination of two things. Number one, temperature, and number 2 is humidity. Temperature and humidity. When you mix temperature and humidity, and when you take these two things together, what you get? You get heat index. Now understand one particular thing, guys, that when humidity will increase and when temperature is also increasing, this particular combination is very deadly for humans. Let's understand that why this combination is deadly for humans. See this particular thing. See this particular thing, guys, that when we talk about human body, when we talk about a human body, there is a particular range of temperature that a human body can tolerate, ambient temperature range. Okay. Now, if temperature will go up, if temperature will increase more than that, what will happen? The human body will not be able to function. Now see, as you have laptop, and when your laptop gets heated up, there is a fan in your laptop and that fan will cool your laptop. In the same way, our body also has a cooling mechanism. And what is that cooling mechanism? That is sweat based cooling mechanism. That is sweat based cooling mechanism. So what happens when your body's temperature is increasing? Your body will generate sweat. Your body will generate sweat. That sweat will evaporate. That sweat will evaporate. And when that sweat will evaporate, it will take heat along with that. And there will be a cooling sensation that will be left over your body. Okay, that is something that is going to happen. Now, just let's take one analogy. Let's take one analogy. Suppose you are taking a shower in a, let's say you are in a bathroom and you have taken a shower. There is, let's say, no window in your bathroom and you have taken a shower. Your body is wet. You come out of your bathroom in your room and you will observe that suddenly you will feel cold. Why you are feeling cold as you have come out of the shower? It is because, guys, that now the water that was on your body, it is now evaporating, and as it is evaporating, it is taking heat from your body. But my question is different. My question is this: your body was wet in the washroom also, but when you were in washroom you were not feeling cold. Why you are feeling cold now as you have come out of the washroom? Your body was wet here, your body is wet now also. Reason is that, guys, that when you were in washroom, what happened? There was a lot of humidity already in your washroom. I told that your washroom is packed. There is no window, there is, let's say, no opening. So what happened? As you were taking shower, fine, your body, there was a lot of water on your body. It was trying to evaporate and a lot of actually humidity accumulated in your washroom, and there was no space. There was no space in air. Already air is very much humid. Okay, it also needs a space to evaporate, but there was no space. So therefore evaporation was not happening. The water was on your body, it was not simply evaporating, and as it was not evaporating, you were also not feeling cold. Now you came out, and now here humidity already in the air is not that much, and now that water will get space to evaporate, and as it will evaporate, you will feel cold. So this is way as how our body gets cooled down. Just basic concept. Now understand this particular thing. So if relative humidity in environment increases, what happens? Our sweat will not be able to evaporate. Now, as climate change is happening, what is happening? Along with the temperature, wet bulb temperature, that is humidity, it is also increasing. And when it will increase, what will happen? The people, they will feel a lot of heat, and when their body will generate sweat, that sweat will not be able to evaporate, and when their sweat will not be able to evaporate, their body will not be able to cool down, and as the body will not be able to cool down, there will be a lot of fatality. People will die. People will face lot of heat based fatalities. So this is something that is going to happen. Okay, so basically, just if you see this particular thing, guys, I told you that when we talk about high humidity, it can lead to heat stress. How it can lead to heat stress? The body is unable to get rid of excess heat. Why? Because humans that when the body will generate stress, that stress will not be able to evaporate, simply because there is no space in air to absorb that particular stress. So here you see this particular thing, that high temperature, the human body can lose excess heat through perspiration, that is through sweating. Through perspiration, through sweating, it cools itself, but when humidity is high, it is difficult to sweat, and then for that sweat to evaporate, because air around is already saturated with moisture. So when temperature is increasing and when also humidity is increasing in the temperature, then that combination is very deadly. And when we see that recently 70 degree, when recently we see that Iran heat index reached to 70 degree, it means that at this particular point life is impossible. So with the climate change that is happening, along with the heat, humidity will also increase, and because of that particular thing, a lot of fatalities will happen. Okay, this is something that about it. Now moving to the next article. Ukraine war, the issues with Russia's arm purchases from North Korea. Now, this particular article we are going to see with respect to the GS paper number 2, International Affairs. So, basically, guys, what is happening? There is a now you know this thing that already Russia-Ukraine war is going on, and as this Russia-Ukraine war is going on, we see this particular thing that Ukraine is getting unlimited supply of weaponry from West, but Russia is not getting that much supply of weapon, and therefore Russia is now relying on its some of the countries, and here comes the role of North Korea. So now it is coming in the news that Russia is trying to sign a deal with North Korea by which Russia will get weapons from North Korea. So this is something that is going on. But strategy experts, they provide this particular thing that Russia will get arms from North Korea, and North Korea in return will demand technology transfer from Russia. Now, when we talk about Russia, Russia has done a lot of research and development, lot of technology development they have done, particularly for the defense weaponry. And Russia also have technology to manufacture the weapons of mass destruction. And out of this particular deal, out of desperation, if Russia gave that technology to North Korea, it might become a very big problem. It might become a very big problem. Now, when we talk about, guys, North Korea, North Korea has been a big time arms exporter, and since 1970s they have exported large number of arms. And guys, in this particular thing, guys, one more particular thing is that Iraq, Iraq Iran was also one of the biggest customer of North Korea for the arms, for the weaponry. However, since 2006, we see this particular thing that the United Nations has started to impose sanctions on North Korean arms trade. And after 2009 particularly, after 2009 particularly, all the imports of arms from North Korea, they have been prohibited because of the United Nations sanctions that have been imposed. But now, as Russia North Korea deal will happen, again North Korea might start supplying weapons to Russia. Now, when we talk about Russia, in the past, Russia has advocated sanctions against North Korea, has advocated sanctions against North Korea, and in 2017 also, Russia has announced support for sanctions against North Korea. But now this position of Russia might be changing. Why? Because of desperation, because of urgent need of weapons that is coming. And if these now, I told you this particular thing, guys, that North Korea might demand technology in return. Now, when we talk about North Korea, from a long time, North Korea has actually carried arms sales not for buying commodities, wheat, grains, etc., but so that by that money they can further fund its weapon development program. And this is called as proliferation financing. Proliferation financing. North Korea provides weapons, the money that it gets, by that it further develops its weapon manufacturing program. And in this capacity, civil societies, United Nations, they have tried a lot that such things should not happen. And now this particular deal, if it went through, it might have a lot of implications on world peace. So here Russia needs to behave more responsibly. So this is, guys, all about this particular article. Now moving to next article. At ASEAN summit, at ASEAN summit, Indonesia warns against new conflict. This is one article. And then one more article, restoring order. So these two articles we are going to cover here. And this particular coverage will be important for our GS paper number 2, international affairs, regional issue. Regional issue. Now, first of all, before going on in this particular article, let's take some of the basic background information. So, guys, here we have a group called as ASEAN, Association for South Asian Nations, ASEAN. Now, when we talk about ASEAN, ASEAN is a 10-member body, and 10 members of ASEAN, here you have Brunei, Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Malaysia, Vietnam, Thailand, Singapore, Philippines, and Myanmar. Headquarters, okay, of ASEAN is in Jakarta. Now, this particular organization focuses on economic cooperation. It focuses on regional cooperation. Okay, it focuses also on enhancing cooperation on multiple levels. Moreover, when we talk about the trade between the ASEAN members also, it also, when we talk about the trade amongst the ASEAN members also, this binds all ASEAN members together. Now, right now, what is happening? The ASEAN summit is going on. Right now, the ASEAN summit is going on. And in this particular summit, one most important topic that has been picked up is instability going on in Myanmar. Now, guys, when we talk about Myanmar, you might already be knowing this particular thing, that what happened, there was military that came over, and military have removed the democratically elected government in Myanmar. And this is now nearly 3 years have happened that military has came over. Okay, and military has uh, actually in 2021, what happened? Military came over and it removed the democratically elected government. And after that particular thing, what is happening? There is a lot of violence that is going on. Citizens against them, atrocities have been committed, and no end of this military rule is seeming. Recently, a few months back, military promised that they will conduct election in Myanmar, but now those elections have also been postponed. So here ASEAN countries now, they are trying to bring a kind of a truce, they are trying to bring a kind of a peace in Myanmar. So basically what has happened, these 10 member ASEAN, they have shown the courage, and they have specifically called out the Janta military of Myanmar, and they have said them that military needs to stop the ongoing violence. And the military has also failed to implement the 5-point consensus. Now, guys, what is 5-point consensus? So, 5-point consensus was imposed on the military of Myanmar, and these 5-point consensus includes the points such as that the military, they need to release the political prisoners, they will invite the convoy, fine, which will try to find out the peace. Okay, there will be the immediate end on violence. These 5-point consensus was imposed on Myanmar, which it has not followed till now. So they are saying that you need to follow this 5-point consensus immediately, as well as immediately you should allow the return of democratic governance. Now, when we talk about Myanmar, it has seen a economic decline since the military ousted the democratically elected government in February 2021. Okay, now basically, guys, as we talk about the ASEAN, in order to pressurize Myanmar, also had provided this particular thing, that the Myanmar will not get the chairmanship of ASEAN. Now, Myanmar was to become the chairman of ASEAN for 2026, and this chairmanship will not be given to ASEAN, and Philippines will take over the chair. And then alphabetically, members they take the chair, and the next turn of Myanmar, which will come, it will be after a lot of time. So therefore, this is also a way in which they are pressurizing. Moreover, as this crisis is going on in Myanmar, what has happened? There is a political opposition also that has been formed. That is the National Unity Government. Now, this National Unity Government is is the opposition, which have the political opponents also. Also, it has a military wing. Now, who are these people? These are those people who have. These are the separatist groups. These are the separatist groups who are challenging the Myanmar's military. They have also joined this National Unity Government, and they all are combinedly trying to put pressurize on the military's junta. Now, here also Myanmar's military. Here also we see this particular thing, that a lot of human right abuses have also happened, and in this particular capacity, recently what happened, there was a United Nations report that released, and this United Nations report provided that mass execution, sexual violences, they have been carried by the military of Myanmar. So therefore now it is ASEAN's responsibility that it should pressurize Myanmar's military and should try to bring peace as soon as possible. Now, though ASEAN is trying to do a lot, but we don't know that how much result it will bring in the short run. But over a long period of time, ASEAN can play a very important role. So this is something that has happened here. However, there is also one more development, guys. Basically, what has happened at ASEAN Summit, Indonesia warns against new conflicts. Now, basically, you know this thing that right now, guys, on Indo-Pacific, West and Russia's rivalry is increasing. So Indonesia has warned America, Quad nations that you should not start a new Cold War. Okay, so you might say that, okay, we are trying to bring rule-based order, etc. And if you started any rivalry with the China in the region, there will be instability that will come. So new Cold War should not be started. Then moving on to next article, Center to stop sites from weaving dark patterns to mislead buyer. Now, this particular article, guys, we are going to see with respect to GS paper number 2, consumer rights. GS paper number 2, consumer rights. Now, this particular development, guys, we have taken up earlier also, and let me tell you again. So, first of all, what is the meaning of this dark pattern that government wants to stop? So, basically, guys, when we talk about dark patterns means those practices which involves deceptive design patterns. Now, let me explain you in very simple terms. So basically, dark patterns are practices by internet websites where they try to attract a customer, where they try to attract traffic on their websites by using some unethical means. Now, what are these unethical means that will come under dark patterns? So it includes a lot of things. For example, false urgency. Now, what is this example of false urgency? Let's say you go on the Mintra's website and you are looking for some shoes and you stumbled upon a pair of shoes and there it shows only two pairs left. Okay, so it has created a false sense of urgency that I need to buy it just in a minute or two, otherwise they will be gone. And what you will do? In hurry, you might buy that particular shoe. You might not be able to compare them with another alternatives that are there. So they create a false urgency by showing you that that a particular offer will end in 2 minutes, that this particular discount is only for 15 minutes, then that only two shoes are left. So this false urgency they are creating. However, this is unethical. This is an example of dark pattern. Then also other aspects, other types of dark patterns are there. For example, basket sneaking. So basically what they do, they will include some additional items at the time of checkout without the consent of user. So they will add some other item in your basket, okay, in your cart without your information, without telling you. So this is basket sneaking. Then confirm shamming. So using particular type of phrases, videos to create a sense of fear or shame. Now understand this thing that for example, if you did not bought this product, you are not serious for the future of your child. Okay. For example, if you did not bought this particular healthy drink, you are not serious for the development of your child. So this is this is confirm shaming, creating a guilt in your mind that, okay, if I did not bought this, I am not a good person. For example, I say this particular thing that I run a UPSC coaching, and if you did not bought this particular product, you don't deserve to be an IAS officer. Now this is an example of confirm shaming, okay, which should not be done, creating a sense of fear, a sense of shame, a sense of ridicule, a sense of guilt in the mind of the. Okay, now European Union also is taking up this particular matter. And guys, what happened in European Union? There was a case of Amazon Prime that came. So you know Amazon Prime membership. Now it was provided that people were now this is also one example of dark pattern. We call it as a subscription trap. What is a subscription trap? It is very easy to buy a subscription of any one service, but if you want to cancel the subscription, there is so much difficulties that are there. It will direct you to one page, then another page, then another page, then another page. People get frustrated, so often they are not able to cancel the subscription trap. It is also an example of dark pattern, and for that particular thing the case was filed against Amazon. and European Union has taken up that particular matter. So basically guys, what has happened, now guidelines would be made applicable. Now the government is coming out with the guidelines which will try to reduce these dark patterns, so government is going to come out with these particular guidelines. Okay, so center to stop sites and government is coming with this particular guideline. But real challenge is that how you will prove that it was a dark pattern or not. For example, you are booking a room on a hotel's website, let's say on Make My Trip, you're booking a room. They show that on this hotel there are only 2 rooms. Now, how you will confirm that whether actually there were the 2 rooms or whether they were deliberately trying to create a false sense of urgency? Okay, can you go and can you confirm the inventory at every website? No. So this implementation is going to be a very big problem. Then moving to next article, finding soul in the Indo-Pacific. Finding soul in the Indo-Pacific. Now this particular article will see with respect to the GS paper number 2 international. Now, this particular article here we see the partnership between India and South Korea. First of all guys, as we talk about India and South Korea, recently what has happened, 50 years of diplomatic relations between India and South Korea has got completed. So here we see this particular thing that recently India and the Republic of Korea, they have commemorated the 50th year of their diplomatic, and now the time has come that diplomatic relation between India and Korea, they need to be taken up even more forward, and this relation should also be added a strategic dimension. Now understand this particular thing guys, that what is happening between India and Korea, there are a lot of commonalities that are coming, and these commonalities are in terms of the common friends that we have. Now guys, this is very usual that for example, you and me are friends, your friends and my friends, they will also become friends with each other. Okay, so or your friends will become my friends will become your friends. So when there are commonalities of friends, there is one more dimension that the relations between the two countries could further be deepened up. Now when we talk about guys, what are the common friends here that are there? There is Japan, US, which are the common friends. Now understand this particular thing guys, that actually recently what happened, there was one more development that happened. Let me explain you that development. So recently Camp David Summit of 2023 was held. Now first of all, what is this Camp David? Camp David is a particular site at which USA host many of the foreign leaders, and there are a lot of Camp David summits, Camp David meets that happened. So this Camp David Summit of 2023, it was a summit between US, Japan and Republic of Korea, and they all are coming together particularly for Indo-Pacific region, and in Indo-Pacific India is also a partner. Now when we talk about Indo-Pacific region, so basically this Camp David Summit, basically it has focused on certain things. Number one, it has focused on repairing the soul, that is South Korea, Tokyo, Japan relations. Now when we talk about this particular summit, that is Camp David Summit, now Japan and South Korea are the two important countries in Indo-Pacific. Along with that, this also at other places, USA is cooperating with countries in Indo-Pacific. For example, there is AUKUS initiative in which US, UK, Australia is there, Quad is there, in which India, Japan, Australia and US is there. Chip 4 alliance is there. Now in Chip 4 alliance, there is US, Japan, Taiwan and South Korea. So if you see guys, you have these organizations, AUKUS is there, Quad is there, Chip 4 is there, and now Camp David Summit is there. At the end of the day, all countries are from Indo-Pacific region. And here USA is focusing a lot. South Korea is an important partner here. India is also an important partner here. Now, when we talk about this Camp David Summit that has happened, this particular summit can take relations between the USA and South Korea to an all new level, And but these improved relations actually will these improved relations are actually a compulsion for USA also. Why a compulsion for USA? Because USA want to counter China, and for that it needs more and more friends, more and more allies. Okay, it needs more and more friends and more allies. Okay, Then further, moving on in this particular direction, guys. Also, here South Korea is also it is coming along with the USA. We see that this approach is also a very important one. Why? Because in past South Korea was very much hesitant to offend China, but now South Korea is not bothering about China and is ready to offend China even if it has to take place. Okay. Now, second, there is that there is also a keen desire in Korea to join Quad grouping, and in next year in Quad Plus, it might join it also. Okay. Now, guys, as we talk about this particular time, so here willingness of South Korea is also there. They want to become a global pivotal state. Now, how India and South Korea can cooperate here on this particular direction. So basically, when we talk about South Korea is a natural partner for India, as well as in Indo-Pacific, it is a natural ally. First of all, why South Korea is important for India? Because of strategic location of South Korea. So South Korea sits next to China and also has an important location in Indo-Pacific region. Secondly, when we talk about the India and South Korea, both are concerned with the rise of China. The rise of China, and rise of China is trying to disturb the global order, and by that particular thing, both India and South Korea are disturbed. So this is also a commonality that can come. And after that particular thing, guys, that both are also coming together to each other. Also, it is because of the USA, which becomes a common friend for all. So basically, guys, further in order to take relation up between India and South Korea, there needs to be an annual summit arrangement that is needed to be carried between India and South Korea. So as we have 2+2 format, with US, Japan, Australia, Russia, okay, such kind of annual summits with South Korea also should be started up. Moreover, guys, when we talk about South Korea has expertise in developing the civil nuclear reactors. Now, India is looking forward to expand the nuclear energy, and for that particular thing, civil nuclear reactors could be imported from South Korea. Now, guys, when we talk about nuclear supplier group, under this already India has got the waiver. So legally India is allowed to import civil technologies, and here South Korea's civil nuclear reactors can be helpful for India. So that is all, guys, about this particular thing. I hope that you have understood it. And now moving to the next article. Now this article, disappearing languages, vanishing voices. Now, nothing much important has been given in this particular article. Article has written little bit more on a literary tone, and article says this particular thing, that English today is a common language in India, which connects large number of people. And often a question comes that why cannot all people in the world speak the same language? So this is not a right approach. Languages, they play a very important role. And if we see the index of linguistic diversity, now index of linguistic diversity is specific pattern which measures the trends in languages. Okay, that what type of languages are getting promoted, what kind of languages are declining. And according to in the index of linguistic diversity, it has been provided, now it is released by UNESCO, and it is said that 42 languages are heading towards an extinction. And basically, which languages we call that they are heading towards extinction? Languages which are spoken by less than 10,000 people, we call that they are heading towards extinction, and more than 42 languages are heading towards extinction. Okay. Now, these languages are dying, and these particular languages are particularly the languages of the tribal groups. And we need to understand this particular thing, that when we talk about any language, that particular language's survival, that language is thriving, is very much important. Why that particular language's existence is important? Not because of the literary value, but also if a value is lost, we lose a lot of cultural variation, we lose a lot of opinions, keywords, we lose a lot of views, knowledge. So therefore, we need to stop this arrest of decline of, we need to stop the decline of languages, and we need to promote the languages, even these languages which have few number of. So this is something that has been carried. However, a lot of such content was also there in this article, which is not that much important for examination. Then, do subsidies and safety nets take focus away from generating jobs? So basically guys, recently you might be knowing these particular things, that a particular word has become very much popular, that is populism. Now what is this populism? Often government announces schemes, announces programs just to attract people. So these are called as the populistic scheme. Now, when we see guys, recently we find this particular thing, that the 5 states are going for elections. And these 5 states are going for elections. Large number of programs and schemes have been announced by government, which ranges from giving free, a lot of subsidies are being given, free electricity is being given, free water is being given, assured incomes, and all such kind of things have been brought about. So basically, it is said that are these promises a distraction? Are these promises where you are giving free electricity, subsidized food, subsidized free water you are giving, and a lot of such freebies are being given? Is it a distraction from providing the sustainable solutions? India has failed to provide large number of jobs. So there has been a jobless growth in India. So these subsidies, giving these kind of a handouts, is it just a way to distract from that? No. It has been provided in the article, guys, that when we talk about unemployment, unemployment is the biggest problem of India. After 1991 reforms, it was said that if the growth will come, growth is like a big tide which will lift all the boats. By growth, all the problems of India will be solved. But as growth came, a large chunk of people did not get any benefit out of the growth. They did not got any jobs. And because jobs have not got created, people are living in poverty. And as people are living in poverty, they cannot afford a lot of services. So therefore, they have to be given them free. They have to be given them at subsidy. And therefore, these electoral promises are being given, which are like the painkillers, which are like the painkillers. Today, as we talk about India, agriculture is the biggest employer in India. And more than 54% in India today, they are dependent on agriculture. And for agriculture, there is agriculture distress. And there, farm loan waivers are being given as a palliative care. Palliative means something which reduces pain. So as a pain reduction, these are being given. So as growth is not there, and we cannot live people just unattended, these kind of things, the subsidies, the supports have to be given to the people. So this is all that have been carried in this particular article. Then guys, moving on to the next page, impact of RBI's lending guidelines. This article will see for economy GS3. Now, guys, there is nothing, to be very frank, in this particular article much important. Recently, what has happened? Reserve Bank of India has issued the guideline where they have provided that the borrower can choose from a floating interest rate to the fixed interest. Now, what is a floating interest rate? Guys, understand this particular thing, that as repo rate will be going up and down, as the market, as the repo rate is going up and down, and other economic factors are concerned, interest rate also goes up and down. In floating interest rate, it will move as per the market dynamics. For example, I took a home loan. I took a home loan at 10%. Tomorrow, that home loan might go to 11.5%. Okay. If the market conditions change, that is the floating interest. Fixed interest rate will not change. You have taken a loan at 10%, you will pay 10% only. You don't bother what the market conditions will be. Now, when we talk about the floating interest rate, it has its own benefit. For example, when market dynamics might be favorable to you. For example, today you are paying 9.5% interest rate, fine, and you are saving a lot of interest. Okay. Tomorrow it will go to 10.5, then you will pay more. But by the time it is 9.5, you saved a lot of money. When we talk about fixed interest rate, from the day one, fixed interest rate is little bit higher so that they can take the margin in account. For example, right from today only, fixed interest rate, let's say in floating it is 9.5, fixed will be 11. Okay. However, it will stay 11 after 5 years also. Okay. But what if the market conditions stayed like the market conditions stayed favorable to borrower, but still you have to pay 11%. So both have their benefits and advantages. Fixed interest rate have an advantage that you can budget properly. Okay. You have to pay a particular interest rate. Okay. And therefore, for budgeting, fixed interest rate is favorable. So now RBI has said that people should be allowed to transition wherever they. Beyond that, nothing much important. And guys, even that particular kind of a things are not that much asked in exam also. Okay. Then we have the main practice question. Republic of Korea with a new strategic outlook. And along with the US, Japan and Australia is uniquely placed to help India advance its interest in Indo-Pacific. This will be a 10 marker GS paper number question. So that is all guys for the today, and with this we come to an end to the today's. Thank you so much, and guys, if you have liked the video, please do hit the like button and please do leave your lovely comments. Thank you so much.